Hello and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I have my reading bullet journal setup flip through. Okay, so I did put a poll on Twitter about whether you wanted me to make this video and the majority of you said yes. I am first going to say that my tripod is dying and I really need a new one, so this setup is precarious. Like, you would laugh at me if you could see how I was sat right now to get this angle. And I do want to say that I am in no means an artistic expert on anything to do with drawing, and this is kind of me experimenting and doing my best as I go along. I was going to do a video actually setting it up, but I realised as I didn't know what I was doing, that would take hours. So first I'm just going to do a flip through for you, and then maybe when I set up July I will actually go ahead and set that up on camera for you if I have a new tripod and I can position it correctly. So first I'm just going to show you the supplies that I bought. The first one is of course the bullet journal itself. It's gold. This bullet journal is a Leuchtturm 1917. It's a German one. It was about £17 and it is like a limited edition, which means it's metallic. It was expensive, but in the UK I couldn't find any other bullet journals. I checked all the big stationery shops and there was nothing. The other things I bought were these Stabilo fine liners. They are 0.4mm and the top pops off like this, and they also split like that, so you can have them flat, so they come in a variety of colours and they're very fine liners, so I've used these as well. This I already had, and it is a Unipin fine liner in 0.3mm and it's black. And the last thing I actually had for my planner, but it is these metallic washi tapes, and I got these off Amazon. I think they were about £6. So this bullet journal has an elastic strap, and it also has these page markers. This is the contents page that I've been filling in as I go along, and all the pages are numbered so you can do your contents easily. The first page is this one, which I've left blank in case I want to do either a 2018 title page or like a year overview. On my first page we have my reading stats. Now this is important to me because I have been including stats in my wrap-ups, and also I want to be able to do my end of year ones. So up on the top left I have my star ratings, and then the tallies are how many of each ones I've read. Then we have the demographics, so children's, young adult and adult, and again a tally. Then we have formats. At the minute we have standard, short stories, graphic novels, novellas, audiobooks and poetry. And then I do have space to add some more down here if I do read any more formats. And this is my pages read, so I fill this in at the end of the month, and the key is here of what each colour means, and then I just fill in the bar chart like so and write the number at the end. Now what I've decided to do with this is to only fill this in at the end of the month. So I have a separate page in my monthly setup, and I will write down my stats in there, and then at the end of the month I will add everything onto this page. Carrying on from my stats, we also have the amount of genres I've read. I have split the genres up a little bit, so paranormal and urban fantasy obviously come under fantasy, as does magical realism and mythology, but I thought I would split them up a little bit, and then the fantasy section is just straight up fantasy. The same with sci-fi. Dystopian comes under sci-fi, but I've just split them up. LGBT comes under contemporary, as do most mystery thrillers, and then non-fiction. And obviously classic isn't a genre, but that's just how I prefer to track them, as their own like sort of genre. On this page we have my series checklist, so at the end of the year I can see how many series I've started, how many I need to finish, and also just generally add to my stats. The only things that I haven't added on here are books that I've read that are the first book in a series that have no other books published until next year. And obviously I just have the amount of boxes for each book in the series that is currently released. For example, Strange the Dreamer will be more than 2 books, but the second book will only be released this year. And then as I read them, I just fill them in, and then I put DNF next to the ones that I've decided not to continue with, which I don't often do, but now I know that life is too short to read books you don't wanna. This is a more artistic page, and this tracks my reading goals. The first one is my Goodreads goal up here, which is to read 57 books, which is the big number in the box, and then I just alternate hatching these for each book I read. Each row has 22 in, so I'm currently on 42 books so far. Over on this side, my goal was to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I am already there. Thank you so much for that. Each box is 100 subscribers, so the dark purple ones were my first 1,000, and then today I reached 1,100, so I've gone in a different colour to show that I'm sort of continuing to track how many I have, but this is in excess of my original goal. On the shelves, we have the oldest books on my Goodreads TBR, Read to One haul, reread Harry Potter, my general rereads, my Ryan's recommendations, and my library books. So these ones and these ones, I've written all the books in that I need to reread and I'm hatching them as I've read them, whereas these ones I'm only actually writing them on when I get to them. So this is just so when I get to the end of the year and I do my goals video, I can sort of see at a glance how far I have progressed with each goal I set at the beginning of the year. These are pretty much just to make my end of year's video. So here we have the best of 2018, the worst of 2018, pretty self-explanatory. And then I have the most surprising and the most disappointing, and look at this. That's depressing, isn't it, guys? We all know how upset I am by this one. And lastly, for my yearly setup, we have the amount of books I'm reading per month. So as you can see, May was my best reading month books-wise, and then February and April were tied for my worst, and that's just so I can sort of see what times of the year I read the most and sort of know how many books it is achievable for me to read in a month, which will help when setting up my TBRs, which we all know are ambitious. This is my June title page. It's a bit boring. I put it in summer colours, but then I never continued with a theme. I did try out calligraphy though, and I really like this. So I have continued to use this a little bit later on. There are no themes in this so far. I'm just kind of experimenting with things as I go along to see what I like. And as I get better at it, I'll try and be more artistic and add more themes. So the first page for my June monthly setup is my June TBR. And as you can see, I've already read Saga Volume 8, so that's coloured in yellow. And these are all the books on my TBR. I have left a couple of spaces and I need to write Fury 1 in one of these. But it's just like a little stack of books on a shelf, and then I'll colour them in the colour of the book cover as I've read them. So Saga Volume 8 was yellow, and the next book I finish will be Warstorm, which will be like dark blue. On this side, I did like a library card sort of effect, and because I split my hauls into where I got them from, so second-hand books or new books or books that I've borrowed, and I just added the author so that it's easy for me to glance at, and that to sort of fit in with the library card theme. As I said, I'm not doing much of a theme, I'm just trying out lots of different things to see what works best for me. But I do really like these two pages and I think they look good. Then we have my June stats. So once again at the top you have star ratings, demographics, formats, genres. This I obviously don't need much space for because I'm not going to read as many books in June as I am in a year. So it's all on one page and it's just exactly the same as that first page. On this side we have a page tracker, and I wanted to do this sort of like a habit tracker, but I didn't really know how to do it. But for the moment we have pages per day. I'm aiming for 100 pages, but that's unrealistic a lot of days, so at least 50. So far for the first 4 days of June I am doing well. And what I've done is I've written down every day of the month down this side, and then I'm just hatching in the colours for how many pages I actually read. If I read less than 50, I will leave it blank, and then this will hopefully help me read consistently throughout the month. On this side, I'm writing the books that I've completed and the amount of pages, and at the bottom I will tally that up to give you my pages read stats that I include in my wrap up. However, next month I'm going to do this how Books and Lala does it, where she does it as a graph. And she has like 50, 100, 150 across the bottom, and then the days, and then she just does like a bar chart. Because I couldn't find anybody else who did this at that time, and then yesterday I did see Lala's journal, and that's how she does it, and I think it's a little bit better looking, so I might try that next month. And then lastly, we have the books I've read in June. Like I said, I've tried a little bit more calligraphy. I like how this turned out apart from the 8. And this is also an experimental page. I like the little sort of page marker thing across the blocks, but I don't really like how I've squashed like 5 stars into this section. and I was thinking maybe of writing that in purple so it matched like the hatching across the titles of the month. So I am trying to introduce a little bit of like theme into it, and I'm playing around with different fonts and stuff to try and make it a little bit prettier. But this will be where I can look at the books that I've read and the star ratings and stuff when I'm doing my wrap up. And then I have nothing else in. This is where I'm up to so far, but I am going to be doing full pages for one book. So for example, if I was doing Warstorm, which I'm not because I don't have many pages left now, and I've only just got to the space in my journal where I could add it, then I would be writing the book title at the top and we'd have like a lightning theme going on, and then my notes on the book for me to give you in my wrap up. So that is everything for my bullet journal setup video. Like I said, in July I may add a video on how I actually set it up and do like a little bit of a chatty one in like Hyperlapse or whatever it's called. But for now, I just thought that I would do this, and then you could see how exactly I set it up and how I track my stats. I am planning on getting more artistic as I go along, but for now it's very basic, just as I get to grips with using it and how to do stuff and fancy art styles and things like that. Please don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to. This is really weird. Please give me some feedback on this video down in the comments so I know whether you like seeing these videos and things like it. If you head into the description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, as well as a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website, the Instagram for that, and also a 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today. Bye!